So recently I was sitting down in a meeting for my school newspaper, and a friend of mine asked if they could log onto my laptop and look at an article that we were editing together. And I was like, yeah, of course. The password's 12345 for my computer, for my drive, for my Gmail. And I saw my journalism teacher, my digital journalism teacher, just sit back in utmost surprise and astonishment and judgment that my password for pretty much everything was 12345, and I was willing to tell everyone about it. Um, so yeah, after a quite long lecture from this teacher, I changed my passwords to a more secure password with letters and numbers and everything. And after another part of the lecture, I covered my camera for my laptop, as hackers are able to look through the camera and see you changing or whatever. So yeah, but then after I'd made these changes to my security online, I was still left wondering just how secure and safe I was online. So while I was in my Paris MUN conference about a week ago as a member of the press team, I requested to take on an article about one of the discussion topics of one of the committees, which was about the NSA or the government being able to access people's emails and private messages without authorization. And this is a problem that definitely divides people, because the government did do it without authorization, and they did hack into people's private files and abuse some human rights of privacy. However, they were doing it in the name of national safety and being able to catch plans for terrorist attacks and stop them. So yeah, I have some points for and against, which I basically just summarized in my article, which I will take a picture of and put it as evidence below this video. So some of the positives are that public knowledge of the government reading people's interactions online could be a deterrent for the planning of terrorist attacks, although a negative might be that if people know it's happening, then they'll just simply be more sneaky as they plan attacks. And if the government's able to read people's interactions online, then they might get a better insight into societal issues or problems that citizens have. And some negatives of it would be that a very small amount of terrorist attacks, like less than 20, have actually been stopped purely because of the NSA's actions and ability to read people's interactions online. And of course, there is a human right, a violation of people's privacy. And I just think that the way it was carried out, with no authorization, no knowledge that it was even happening, was a really bad way that it was carried out. And finally, most research was done on the US because of a few public figures speaking out about it, but a lot of countries actually undertake and have developed the software to view people's emails and interactions online. And the fact that the US has been accessing emails all around the world is quite worrying, because it's not their business to hack into the privacy, to violate the privacy of citizens overseas. So yeah, although despite all the negatives, I personally have nothing to hide online, probably just memes and like funny pictures I've sent to my friends over text. And I think I'm willing to compromise the privacy that I have with the stuff that I do online to avoid terrorist attacks in my area. But this is a very controversial viewpoint, and I think more discussion still needs to be had and more rules still need to be set in place when we decide whether this is justified. And yeah, one of the big problems of the digital era and all the technology we have is that legislation has not been able to keep up with the development that's occurred. And I want to believe that in the next decade or so, it will catch up, so long as technology reaches a plateau in its development. And yeah, hopefully rules like this will be better moderated and technology will be better moderated. And now, yeah, a quick part 2 of this reflection that hasn't got to do with the piece that I made was that over the summer I read the book The Circle, and it's a dystopian novel about how one online company, The Circle, is able to integrate everything and completely control people's lives. And I worry that it's quite a realistic book of the future, and that everything will become integrated, and I think this also needs to be moderated before it can actually happen, that everything is controlled by one company. Yeah, it was just a really interesting book that I read about it, and yeah, I'm a bit worried about what's going to happen in the future and how technology and social media is going to develop. So we'll have to see what happens.